Ever sent a message to someone, thinking things were going great, only to hear nothing in return? No replies, no explanation, just silence. The dreaded ghosting. And it always seems to happen out of nowhere, right? 1 minute, you're texting, laughing, and connecting. And the next, you're left hanging. But why? And more importantly, how can you get her to text back? Ghosting is a modern dating phenomenon that's left many of us wondering, what went wrong? Whether you're a guy or a girl, we've all been on the receiving end of it. But what really causes someone to ghost? Does it always mean the end? And can you actually get her to respond? Today, we're diving deep into why she ghosted you and what you can do to potentially turn things around. Point 1. The fear of commitment and how that affects her actions. Let's start with one of the most common reasons why someone might ghost you: fear of commitment. In today's dating world, everything moves fast, especially with dating apps and social media creating an instant gratification culture. You meet someone, have a few good conversations, and everything seems great at first. But then the pressure starts building. As things get more serious, people start to feel trapped. Fear of commitment is one of the biggest drivers of ghosting. Maybe she was excited to start talking to you, but the thought of being in a relationship started to overwhelm her. For some, the idea of giving up freedom or becoming emotionally attached can feel like a heavy burden. It's not that she doesn't like you. She might like you a lot, but she's afraid of what this could mean in the long run. For example, imagine she's just starting to feel a connection with you, but then she starts imagining the future. What if this relationship doesn't work out? What if things get complicated? That fear can trigger a withdrawal. And what does she do? She ghosts you. Psychologically speaking, fear of commitment is a real thing. Studies show that many people experience anxiety around the idea of commitment, and they often respond to that fear by distancing themselves. This doesn't mean she isn't into you. It just means she's not ready to take that emotional plunge. If you've ever been with someone who seemed great at first, but then pulled back when things got more serious, you probably felt confused. But this fear of commitment might have been at play. It's a defense mechanism, and for many, ghosting is simply easier than confronting those feelings. Point 2. The cool girl syndrome. Why she's afraid to be too interested. Another sneaky reason she might ghost you. The cool girl syndrome. You've probably encountered this before, especially if you're someone who tends to fall for a girl who's a little elusive. The cool girl is the one who plays it cool, never too eager, never too available. She's not desperate, right? She doesn't need anyone to complete her. She's independent, confident, and unbothered by the fact that you're into her. But here's the thing. While it might seem like she's playing hard to get, it's usually more about her trying not to seem too interested. Deep down, she might be into you, but the idea of appearing too eager makes her pull back. She doesn't want to look vulnerable or desperate, so she keeps her distance, thinking she's being cool. But in reality, this type of behavior can be just as confusing for you as it is for her. She might be waiting for you to chase after her, but at the same time, her cool, distant demeanor could come off as a lack of interest. You might start wondering if she's really into you, and the whole thing becomes a game. This dynamic is a psychological balancing act. The more she pulls away to play hard to get, the more you might feel uncertain, and the cycle of ghosting begins. It's important to remember that this type of behavior comes from a place of insecurity. She doesn't want to be the one who seems too vulnerable, so she hides her feelings. Point 3. Miscommunication. The silent signals you didn't pick up on. Let's talk about something we've all experienced: miscommunication. This is where things get tricky because it's not always about what was said. It's about what wasn't. In today's texting-heavy world, it's easy to misinterpret someone's tone or intention. You could be sending texts thinking they're lighthearted or casual, but she might interpret them differently. Maybe you were being funny, but she didn't get the joke. Or maybe you thought you were being clear, but something in your message felt too direct or even cold to her. Here's a real-life scenario. You send a text saying, "Hey, what's up?" And she replies, "Not much, just chilling." Then you text back, "Cool, let's hang soon." Simple, right? But what if she didn't feel the same energy you intended? What if she thought your "cool, let's hang soon" sounded disinterested or even dismissive? When there's no physical presence to interpret a conversation, no facial expressions, no body language, texts can easily be misinterpreted. And that's where the ghosting can begin. She may pull away, not because she doesn't care, but because she's unsure about the vibe between you two. This is a key point to remember when navigating early conversations with someone. Be aware of how your messages might be read. While it's important to be authentic, it's also crucial to consider the subtleties of communication. If she feels uncertain or confused, she might retreat. It's not necessarily personal. It's just a result of the lack of clear communication. Point 4. She's just not that into you. And that's okay. Here comes the tough one. Sometimes she might just not be that into you. And it's hard to accept, but it's important to remember that ghosting isn't always about you. It could simply mean that, as time went on, she realized that there wasn't enough chemistry, or that she wasn't as invested in the relationship as she thought. In the early stages of dating, it's common for people to get excited about someone new. But over time, that excitement can fade, especially if the chemistry isn't there. When that happens, rather than be direct and say, "Hey, I don't feel a connection," some people choose the easier route, ghosting. They don't want to hurt your feelings or have an awkward conversation, so they just disappear. It's a classic case of avoiding confrontation. In some ways, ghosting can feel like a softer rejection than just telling you the truth. It's easier to vanish than explain why things aren't working out. But here's the good news. If she's not into you, it's not a reflection of your worth. Sometimes, two people just don't click, and that's okay. Instead of chasing after someone who isn't reciprocating your feelings, focus on finding someone who is excited about you. It's all part of the dating game. Point 5. How to get her to text back. The art of giving space and showing interest. So, now that we've covered the reasons behind ghosting, let's talk about what you can do to get her to text you back. First things first, give her space. This might sound counterintuitive, especially when you're desperate for an answer. But trust me, space works. When someone ghosts you, the worst thing you can do is bombard them with texts or calls. That's just going to push them further away. Instead, take a step back. Give her a chance to miss you. Give her time to think about the connection without the pressure of your constant attention. But while giving her space is important, it's also vital that you don't seem indifferent. When you do reach out, show genuine interest, but keep it light. You don't need to write an essay explaining yourself or asking why she hasn't responded. A simple, "Hey, I've been thinking about our last conversation and wanted to check in. Hope all is well," can work wonders. The key here is to make her feel comfortable. If she feels like she's being chased or that you're desperate for her attention, that's going to turn her off. But if she senses that you're confident, not overly invested, and still interested in a fun, laid-back way, she'll be more likely to re-engage. So, to sum it all up, ghosting doesn't always mean it's the end of the road. Whether it's due to fear of commitment, miscommunication, or simply not being that into you, it's important to remember that there are ways to handle it. The biggest thing is to take a step back, give her space, and keep your communication light and genuine. Now that you know the psychology behind ghosting, it's time to put this knowledge into action. Will you keep texting someone who's clearly not interested, or will you move on and find someone who truly values you?